Help, babe, it's Ross. I'm just worried about you. If you haven't rang back or, text me or anything. It's probably nothing. Probably friends together who fell asleep, but, I'm just worried, that's all.
This was Ross McCallum's voice message to Megan the day she disappeared. A few hours later, he would confess to killing her.
What kind of location is it?
Charlie Road.
Charlie Road. Whereabouts? In the Labour. Okay. Is she alive? No? Okay.
Megan had left behind a devastated family and a diary full of hopes, dreams, and plans for her future. She had her whole life planned out. Yet she didn't know she wouldn't make it past the age of 23. Who was the monster who took her life? What was his demented motive? And what is Megan's family doing today to ensure that no more monsters lurk in the streets? Watch on, but make yourself a cup of tea, as this is about to get very unsettling. This is the tragic story of Megan Newborough. On the evening of Friday, August 6, 2021, 23-year-old Megan Newborough left her family home in Newborough, Warwickshire, UK. This is a small town of under 100,000 inhabitants, where people tend to feel safe and cozy. It was around 7:30 p.m., and despite the late hour, it was still light outside, a typical English summer evening. Megan told her parents she was going to meet a friend from work for a walk and would be home before dark. Her departure was captured on the family's Ring doorbell camera, a final glimpse of Megan that would later become crucial evidence. What her family didn't know was she wasn't actually going for a walk. Instead, she was heading to the home of Ross McCallum, a 30-year-old colleague she had been seeing for about 6 weeks. McCallum lived with his parents in Colville, Lancashire, but they were out for the evening, leaving the house to him. Her father would remember that last conversation he had with Megan. She'd told him she would go for a walk with a boy, so he told her to be careful. When Megan didn't return home that night, the family grew increasingly worried. By Saturday afternoon, August 7th, they reported her missing to the Warwickshire police. They told the officers that the last they knew, Megan had gone for a walk with a man from work named Ross. Desperate for answers, Megan's family took matters into their own hands. Using a phone tracking app, her brother John set out to locate her device. His search led him to the Hermitage Road in Whitwick, where he made a chilling discovery. Megan's phone was found deep inside a large, overgrown hedge, surrounded by brambles at the side of a field. The police investigation quickly zeroed in on Ross McCallum. Officers arrived at his parents' house on Windsor Close in Colville, but McCallum wasn't home. They managed to reach him by phone. In the recorded call, McCallum maintained a facade of concern.
Hi Ross, my name's Mia. I'm a police officer with Warwickshire Police. Hello. We've just come to your mum and dad's house. We're just looking for Megan. She's been reported missing. Have you seen her at all?
She came on Friday. I've been trying to call her loads.
Have you?
She came on Friday for about an hour.
Yeah.
Then she left about 9ish.
Okay.
I went to McDonald's.
Yeah.
And then she said she could give me a call or a text when she got home. She never did.
She never did. Okay.
He'd even left a voice message on Megan's phone after their date, as he claimed.
Help, babe, it's Ross. I'm just worried about you. If you haven't rang back or, text me or anything. It's probably nothing. Probably friends together who fell asleep, but, I'm just worried, that's all.
However, his act quickly crumbled when police arrived to arrest him on suspicion of kidnapping at 11:35 p.m. on August 7th. Here is CCTV footage showing Ross McCallum changing his clothes. He's dumping his old clothes in a big dumpster and taking a taxi home. Shortly after, he claimed he'd last seen Megan.
What kind of location is it?
Charlie Road.
Charlie Road. Whereabouts? In the Labour. Okay. Is she alive? No? Okay.
Yeah. That's how calmly he replied no when the officer asked if Megan was alive. Police officers were immediately dispatched to the area. In the early hours of Sunday, August 8th, they made the grim discovery of Megan's body. She had been dumped in a remote area, partially hidden under an overgrown hedgerow on Charlie Road. In the same calm demeanor, Ross told a detective he needed to make sure his girlfriend of 6 weeks was dead. Not only did he strangle her and slice her throat, he almost took her head off. Around 2 a.m. on Sunday, police located Megan's abandoned Citroen C3 in the parking lot of Lundberg College. This was the beginning of the end for this monster, but Megan's case was just beginning to make headlines, and her family was about to relive this whole nightmare during a horrific trial. To understand the magnitude of the loss, we need to know Megan as a person. By all accounts, she was a happy, loving young woman with her whole life ahead of her. Megan worked in the Human Resources Department at an Ibstock Brick, a company that manufactures, you guessed it, brick.
She did incredibly well. She was absolutely going places.
She was loved by everybody that met her. She did very well at work, looking at promotion and everything else. So yes, she had a life laid out in front of her.
One friend describes Megan as a 1 in a million person, saying she always had a smile on her face and found the positive in people and situations. These weren't just platitudes. Megan genuinely touched the lives of those around her with her warmth and positivity. Megan came from a large, close-knit family and had a tight group of friends. Her mother, Elaine, said she was like a magnet. People were drawn to her warm personality. At just 23, Megan was thriving in her career and on the verge of buying her first home. She had so much to look forward to. Megan loved animals more than anything. She loved her dog, and she loved rescuing animals in her area. In a poignant detail revealed after her death, Megan kept a diary where she wrote down her goals and dreams for the future. One particularly touching page was dedicated to her 30 before 30, a list of experiences she wanted to have before turning 30 years old. Tragically, Megan would never get to cross off any of those items. Megan's brother John spoke movingly about his sister after the trial.
Meg was an exceptional person through and through. She was and is loved by all who knew her and was nothing but pleasant to those she came into contact with. She had a whole life ahead of her. She was about to buy her first home and was excited for everything she had coming up. We're a very close family, of which Megan was the glue that held us together. Our lives have been torn apart through this loss.
He spoke daily of pain, expecting Megan to walk through the front door, knowing she never would again. And he emphasized that Ross was not only someone Megan knew, but someone she trusted. It's cases like this that make your stomach turn. Megan had only begun dating Ross McCallum for about 6 weeks when he took her life. They had met at Ibstock Brick, where McCallum worked as a lab technician. Colleagues noted that Megan seemed happy and excited about the new relationship, often speaking positively about Ross. However, as more details emerged during the investigation and trial, it became clear that there were concerning elements to their relationship from the start. Analysis of their text messages revealed that McCallum had quickly steered the conversations in an overtly sexual direction. He had made demands that Megan referred to him as Lord Commander in scenarios, a detail that prosecutors later pointed to as evidence of his desire for control. Just a week before the murder, Megan and Ross had met up in a woodland area for a sexual encounter. This encounter had not gone well, with McCallum experiencing performance issues. Prosecutors suggested that this humiliation may have played a role in his subsequent actions. On the day of the murder, text messages showed that Megan was looking forward to the evening with McCallum. She arrived at his house sometime after 8 p.m. What exactly transpired in the house may never be fully known, but within 40 minutes of Megan's arrival, McCallum had taken her life and ensured Megan would not survive the ordeal. Then he dumped her body and left a loving voice message in a lame and desperate attempt to cover his butt. The police investigation moved quickly once Megan was reported missing.
And where are you at the moment?
I'm in Loughborough right now.
You're in Loughborough. Okay, what are you up to in Loughborough?
Sorry?
What are you up to in Loughborough?
I'm just having a few drinks in Loughborough.
Oh yeah, okay.
After interviewing her family and colleagues, they soon focused their attention on Ross McCallum. When officers first spoke to him on the phone, he maintained a facade of concern.
Did she say anything of where she might be going or where she might be?
She said she was going to go to... She's like going to McDonald's on my own to get like a vanilla milkshake.
Yeah.
That's it.
And she didn't say where she'd be going today, all she said is that she'd meet you?
Well, no, she said she couldn't stop mine. She was going to stop last night around 9, but she said she couldn't.
Last night? Did she say why she couldn't stop?
No, well, when I texted her to say if she wanted to, she said she couldn't. She never went into detail, no. But she's honestly, she's lovely. She is. I work with her. She's HR. She's a really nice person.
Yeah.
I am really worried.
However, this act quickly crumbled when police arrived to arrest him. For Megan's devastated family, seeing the footage of McCallum's arrest made it all the more heartbreaking.
DC Gallagher from Warwickshire Police. At this moment in time, we have reason to suspect your involvement in the disappearance of Megan Newbury, and as a result, I'm arresting you on suspicion of kidnap.
Ross never denied being involved in Megan's disappearance. In fact, he was only getting arrested for her kidnapping, but he quickly confessed to taking her life.
So in relation to Megan, can you tell us where she is? Say again. Talk down the police station. Can you tell us here, just quietly? Woodhouse Eaves. What is that? Near Loughborough. What is it though? What kind of location is it?
Charlie Road.
Charlie Road. Whereabouts? In the Labour Way. Okay. Is she alive? No? Okay.
As the investigation unfolded, the full extent of McCallum's actions came to light. The police discovered that after murdering Megan, McCallum engaged in an elaborate deception to cover his tracks. CCTV footage showed him methodically disposing of his blood-stained clothes and the materials he'd used to clean up the crime scene in a skip and public bin in the college parking lot where he had abandoned Megan's car. He then took a taxi home, but asked to be dropped off some distance from his house. Once home, around 10:45, he began his attempts to create an alibi. He sent text messages to Megan's phone which read, "Did you get back okay, baby?" Yeah, this is how disgusting he is. And it gets worse. At 11:18 p.m., a few hours after he'd murdered Megan and disposed of her body, he Googled how to tell a girl you love her. In the hours that followed, McCallum's internet history revealed a disturbing pattern. He had browsed various YouTube channels and websites, including looking up the weather forecast. Then chillingly, he had been researching serial killers, looking up information about Levi Belfield, a serial killer and sex offender. The next morning, McCallum continued his charade. At 6:34 a.m., he was back on his phone, again searching for details about Belfield and looking at news websites. He then spent 16 minutes on a porn website with an emphasis on domination, opening dozens of browser windows. Later that day, his internet searches took a different turn. He looked up information about Category A prisons. It seemed that even as he was trying to cover his tracks, part of him was preparing for the responsibility of being caught. The trial of Ross McCallum began in November 2022 at Leicester Crown Court. McCallum had already admitted to killing Megan, but denied murder. Instead, he tried to plead guilty to manslaughter, claiming he had experienced a loss of control due to childhood trauma being triggered. Yeah, he was going for a PTSD defense. His defense team brought up allegations that McCallum had been abused as a child by Stephen Beedman, a man who had essayed an unalived schoolgirl, Kaylee Haywood, in 2015. However, the prosecution argued that McCallum's actions showed clear intent and premeditation. They pointed to the calculated way he had disposed of the evidence, his elaborate cover-ups, and his chilling internet searches after the murder. The prosecution put forward a theory about McCallum's motive, suggesting that he had attacked Megan in a blind rage because he had been humiliated by his performance issues. Perhaps most damning were the comments McCallum made while in custody awaiting trial. A prison guard overheard him joking with other inmates that if he had gone a bit further, he'd have taken her head off. Throughout the trial, Megan's family had to endure hearing the brutal details of her final moments and the callous way McCallum had treated her body and memory. Despite the difficulty, they attended court every day, determined to see justice done for Megan. They also saw this photo from McCallum's bedroom at his parents' house. Yeah, this is the pigsty Megan lost her life in. After deliberation, the jury unanimously found Ross McCallum guilty of Megan Newborough's murder. On December 16, 2022, he was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 23 years. While handing down the sentence, Justice Pepperall condemned McCallum's cruelty and lack of remorse, noting that he never offered a credible explanation for why he took Megan's life.
Still able to get over it, but it's the sentencing time, the period that was given as a starting point that shocked us, absolutely. We appreciate he got 23 years overall as a minimum tariff, but 8 years of that was due to the aggravating factors for the most horrendous things he did afterwards, and not for the crime itself. Because it took place within the home, it was a 15-year starting point. So that is what needs to change. If he'd taken a knife to Megan outside on the street, the starting point would have been 25 years.
Why should the law protect perpetrators who commit murders inside a home? Why should a domestic incident be treated more leniently? And how on earth is a monster like McCallum allowed back on the streets after doing the things he did? But perhaps the most heartfelt statement came from Megan's older sister, Claire, who looked McCallum in the eyes and said, "I hope she haunts you." In the wake of this tragedy, Megan Newborough's family has channeled their grief into action. They've worked tirelessly to raise awareness about DV and support other victims. The family has advocated for policy changes to better protect women from violence. They've supported local women's shelters and DV organizations. In July 2023, nearly 2 years after Megan's death, her family announced plans to set up a charitable organization in her memory. The foundation aims to support and empower other victims of DV and violence against women and girls.
And so, Anthony, that is what you want to change.
Indeed,
isn't
yes.
it? So just explain the campaign.
So we're obviously, the government statistics show clearly that over 7% of women are killed by partners.
Yeah.
Or ex-partners in the home, and only 9% by strangers on the street. So we're obviously asking for change where to close that disparity from 15 years in a home to 25.
The case has also sparked wider discussion about gender-based violence and the misogynistic attitudes that allow it to persist. Bystander intervention is another key strategy. By empowering people to speak up against sexist comments or behavior, we can create a culture where misogyny is socially unacceptable. Detective Inspector Jenny Heggs, who led the investigation into Megan's murder, revealed a sad truth about McCallum.
But when you start to dig into McCallum and who he is, and we know through the text messages how dark a character he is, and then how he's behaved in prison as well. There were prisoners that gave evidence against McCallum because they were appalled by how much he was bragging about what he had done to Megan.
His disgusting act and behavior after he took Megan's life shows a horrible person, obsessed with, sadistic, and deeply misogynistic. But it's also a warning to many people out there. Danger can hide behind a pretty face. Perhaps Megan broke things off with McCallum just before he did the unthinkable. As we've seen in so many true crime cases, narcissistic, psychopathic people like McCallum tend to not take rejection lightly. Megan's family hopes that by sharing her story, they can help others recognize and avoid potentially dangerous situations. The loss of Megan has left an inedible mark on her family and community. Her parents, siblings, extended family have all spoken movingly about the void left in their lives. Her colleagues speak of the lasting impact she had on their lives and the workplace culture. Her family has done something truly moving. Remember Megan's diary filled with her unachieved plans? Well, her family has started ticking those off for her. Megan's family will try to live a full and happy life in her honor. But it will be hard when every day for the rest of their lives, they will remember how they lost their beloved daughter and sister. Megan's family has shown incredible strength in the face of unimaginable loss. Their efforts to create something positive from their tragedy by raising awareness and supporting other victims is a testament to Megan's enduring impact on the world. As a society, we must also commit to addressing the root causes of violence against women. Megan Newborough's life was cut tragically short, but her memory lives on through the love of her family and friends, and through the positive changes her story has inspired. May we honor her memory by working towards a world where no women have to fear violence, where everyone can live and love freely without the threat of harm. Hey guys, thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on this tragic case? What can we do to keep each other safe? Leave a comment down below, and before you go, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell button. All right, catch you soon. Stay safe.